Yo, what up? What up? Good morning, GMG. Monday. Ooh, baby. July 7th, 2025. Look at that. Another beautiful day to have a beautiful day. I got my co-host in the house, Tyler. Mando. Good morning. Good morning. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Absolutely fucking fantastic. First morning in 9 weeks that your boy doesn't wake up with any sort of physical pain or sickness. So feels good, man. I feel back. I feel like Farouk again. I wasn't myself for the last 2 months. I'm back. I'm fucking back. Tyler, how you doing today?
you do sound very back.
Yeah.
Glad to have you back. I'm good. It was a nice 4th of July weekend here. We did all the America stuff. We went to a parade. We saw fireworks. And then we went to a Kygo concert last night. My wife is a big Kygo fan.
How was that? I saw Kygo once in the Hamptons. It was lit.
We saw him last year as well. And this year's show was somewhere 5 to 10x better. It was significantly better. So I do encourage folks, if you are at least a casual Kygo fan, if he's touring near you, go check it out. It's a good show.
The Kygo's been around forever, bro.
Yeah, long time.
I was in high school, I think. Everyone's listening to Kygo or some shit.
That was 15 years now.
Yeah, at least. Good DJ. Great DJ. Did you do the whole thing? Fireworks, guns, fucking,
We did do fireworks. We did not shoot guns off. No.
No way.
We did the fireworks, yeah.
Okay. I love that. America. So happy America, everyone. And listen, America's looking good here. Let me tell you that. America is looking good here despite, mom and dad fighting again on timeline, Donald and Elon, but we'll get into that in a minute. I'm sure it's the other show. Today, what do we got? Is the code today going to be America Sims or something like that? I feel like it would be fitting. Anyways, the other show, daily market report. Let's get in the market with Mando. Market's looking good. I'm not going to lie. Let's get into that. If you're not bull boasting range highs, then, I don't know what you're doing. So there's that. Then we're going to talk about Tyler's top 100. I'm sure there's a lot to cover, because we missed out. We obviously went horsing Friday, so there's a lot of stuff to cover from the weekend, et cetera. And then we're going to do the YEET giveaways, every day. 5 days a week. We had 4 winners in one day on Thursday. That was fucking lit, by the way, man. We gave away $4,000 on Thursday. That was fun. We just plain code everyone in one shot. It was lit. So YEET code is weekly. What? Oh, yeah, because of the weekly thing that we're installing. Yes, it's true. So weekly is the code, WEEKLY. Why? Let me tell you why. You got to go on YEET.com, make an account using the code FOMO hour. Y'all know how to spell that at this stage. Make sure your account is public, and then you'll have to have placed a bet on the YEET.com platform. Doesn't have to be much, but a little something. But what we're going to do now to make it even more, impactful is that you're going to have participated this week. Is it this week or last week? Because we're Monday right now, Sims. So that's
we're going to do it mixed. So it's going to be from this week. And then for Friday, we may do open up a little bit more broadly, but yeah.
Okay, cool. Just checking because if you're Monday, then, Anyway, so you'll have to have placed a bet on the thingy, and then we'll be able to give you some money. And as usual, this show is powered by Wallet Connect. Wallet Connect is a connectivity network shaping the future of on-chain UX. If you've connected to Web3 app, you've seen Wallet Connect. That blue logo, it's everywhere. An icon of trust in crypto as recognizable as Visa at checkout. Want to learn more? Follow Wallet Connect on X and Telegram to stay ahead of what's next. But also Kraken. With Kraken Pro, you get full control over your layout. Drag and drop any module, customize it all. It's clean, it's smooth, and built for real traders. Yeah, like Mando. If you trade crypto, check out pro.kraken.com. Trade without trade-offs. Speaking of trading, Mando, what do you got for us this week?
Who is the man, Macro Daddy of the land? Can you dig it?
GM, everyone. So, yeah, we did have a quiet Friday, and the market was a little bit mixed, let's be honest. We got close to all-time high, then we sold off a little bit, and then we kind of rallied across the last 24 hours, really, but nothing crazy. We're still sitting just below all-time high on Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance has gone down a little bit over the last few sessions, so altcoins are definitely having a little bit of a season here, but we're literally talking about from 65.7 to like 65.1. But yeah, definitely a bit more focus, I would say, on alts here, and kind of the same things outperforming. So you got a little bit of ETH, a little bit of Farcoin hype. Solana's actually done decently well too. So those have all had a good session. Obviously, in memes, the main story has been this shift over to Bonk or Letsbonk, the platform. So that's been a lot of the winners in the mid caps have really been around that sort of world, and Bonk's actually had a good week as well. And then I would still say the focus is still on treasury companies though, and some of public markets. SBET, which I know is Tyler's put a little bit of, that's up to 14.5. So that's had a decent bounce, while that Bitmine is down about 20%. So the volatility is really happening in these stocks rather than in our majors, I would say. Overall, we had in macro, we had the America Party formed. That had been a bit of a volatile bit for crypto before. It doesn't really feel like they care so much now. And Elon even came out and basically got to where all the crypto bros had got 2 months ago, that he might think that Bitcoin is a better store of value than the US dollar. He kind of came out and was pretty pro Bitcoin in what he was saying. And I think that could be a trend of this America Party. So get ready for a lot more statements here that budget deficits are unsustainable and that we need to move to like Bitcoin or other stable forms of value. I think that is going to be one of the taglines if this really does pick up pace. We had some movement of a big Bitcoin wallet over the weekend, which caused a little bit of a worry. It looks like it was likely tied to Roger Ver, who is the creator of Bitcoin Cash. Remember, that was the famous block size debate, and he wanted smaller blocks, so you got Bitcoin Cash. He, as far as I'm aware, he's under arrest or like under some form of investigation from the US at the moment related to tax charges, because when he left the US, he didn't pay any taxes, and they basically said, "Yo, you actually owe a lot of money there." Turns out he might have a bit more. So I don't know if that was included in the amounts that he has to pay, but there was also a lot of, I think part of the reason why we maybe sold off on that over the weekend was to do with, there is like this worry at the moment in Bitcoin circles that there's going to be a quantum hack of some of the older Bitcoin wallets. So some of the security that encompasses some of the older storage wallets of Bitcoin, including Satoshi's, they think it'll be possible to essentially decrypt in the coming years with quantum computers. And so whenever you see some of these like very, very old wallets move, there's like suddenly this worry that, oh my god, like somebody's cracking old Bitcoin wallets. And I think that's what caused the majority of like the FUD, let's say, around that suddenly, oh my god, like maybe we might see some old Bitcoin. It is highly likely that that at some point in the future, Satoshi Nakamoto's wallet will be hacked. Very, very likely. That's kind of like
relax. Not on the Monday.
No, it's kind of accepted by a lot of different people now in the Bitcoin community that there is kind of no way to get around it. So, and this is the case for a lot of old wallets. So what this may have been is a shift to a new wallet and hopefully then to secure those. And you may see this with a lot of old Bitcoin, basically very, very old Bitcoin, some of the first blocks or around at the start. But there is this worry that the people that have their Bitcoin lost, for example, in that period, or they've died, of which a lot of people think that's what happened to Satoshi, right? Is he may not be able to move it, and that would be a bit of a worry. And this is not a small amount. We're talking about like 150 billion, right? So 100 billion. So this is kind of like the number one target for anyone with a quantum computer to go after. And and that's what caused the worry. And a lot of Bitcoin OGs were like, "Oh my god, this is what's happened," and that's why we saw the market not react to it. But it doesn't seem that was likely now, because there was like a test transaction on Bitcoin Cash, and then people were like, "Well, this is most probably linked to Roger Ver and all this other stuff." So that's kind of why there was this worry about that. It's not just like people moving that amount of Bitcoin. Yeah, it's not great, but it's more that, oh my god, maybe there's like a quantum threat suddenly to some of these old wallets that we need.
We also get hacked by a white hat. So someone's suggesting in the comments. So
that's also true.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, the people who have access to a quantum computer, you're really talking about nation states there. That's kind of the worry, is that this gets into the hands of a rogue nation state,
like Korea. North Korea.
Yeah, like North Korea would be an obvious one. Iran would be another obvious one. I mean, the majority of these quantum computers are actually in the US, and the big advancements are happening at some of the big Magnificent Seven firms. So, you know, if Google, for example, and Microsoft, which is considered to be some of the leaders in quantum computing at the moment and probably going to lead a lot of the breakthroughs, they might be able to crack this relatively soon. And who knows? Maybe they would white hat the Satoshi wallets. It would be interesting to see what they do. But yeah, if you were wondering why we were selling off so badly on the back of that, that was kind of why, because there was this underlying theme that this could be a bit worse than people had initially thought. Other than that, there was this back and forth on TON. It kind of seems kind of funny. I think Tyler's probably going to mention that a little bit later. And yeah, like there's a big push in South Korea for stablecoins at the moment. This is kind of, it feels as though South Korea is about to open up to crypto even more than it is. On an institutional level. Like we're going to see ETFs, we're going to see massive stablecoins launched there. I think they're going to go all in from a government level on it as well. And yeah, that's. I think we're seeing a lot of headlines coming out of Asia, basically around stablecoins and crypto integrations.
All right. Oh, love that.
This week for macro, I think it's kind of quiet again. I think you have some of the initial deadlines for the tariffs. You get the FOMC minutes, but not a lot. There is some worry about the moment about like bond yields rising again. They were back on the rise. Japanese bond yields are really rising at the moment, and that's a bit of a worry for Japan. But yeah, nothing too crazy.
All right. Well, there you go. There you have it. That's it on the market side. We'll see what happens. Looks like we're just chilling at range highs, guys. Like it's always like that, right? We've just been hanging on this 108K. I feel like we were 108K all weekend long. I mean, every time I opened Press to Crypto, it was 108 this week. Maybe last night, 109 something. On the back of the tariffs headlines. That also happened this weekend, Mendo. And there was like deadlines pushed to August 1st with some letters leaving the desk of Donald Trump probably today. But besides that, Bitcoin's at 108.1, Ethereum's at 25.50, Solana's green at 152, and all the rest is looking on the way up. So Tyler, let's see what you got for us today.
For daily NFT and crypto analysis, Tyler D on FOMO hour cause the kid can't miss.
Ready to bash some bears.
Yeah, folks, crypto majors were green this morning after Besson announced the tariff deadline would be pushed to August 1st. Now looking a little bit more mixed. We got Bitcoin down 1%, 108, 150, ETH down 0.5%, 25.50. Solana up 1% at 153. We had Bonk, SPX, and Radium leading top movers on the day. We'll get into perhaps why that is happening here in a bit. Elon Musk, he said his new America party will embrace Bitcoin, stating that fiat is hopeless on X. So that was a big statement. The Bitminer stock doubled on Thursday, hit 135. That was a 3-day 10x. As Mando mentioned, it is down about 20% here this morning, but still a huge move there. SBET also up about 50% from last week's lows. Bitcoin, as you mentioned, did sell off on Friday after the OG whale holding 80,000 started transferring it after 14 years of dormancy. This happened amidst some huge inflows. So Bitcoin and ETF inflows, 600 million and 150 million respectively on Thursday. That was the highest since May for Bitcoin and second highest since February for ETH. So those were big numbers. This morning, the UAE has denied reports that those who stake $100,000 in TON tokens will be eligible for a 10-year golden visa. So they say that that partnership is non-existing, at least yet, to the contrary of what the TON Foundation president had said. So we'll have to dig into that a bit. And then some breaking news this morning. Strategy announced another $4.2 billion at the money program for the Stride to buy more Bitcoin. So that was another big raise announcement. In corporate treasuries, a couple headlines. Nanolabs disclosed they have now bought $50 million in BNB. They're trying to acquire up to $1 billion of BNB. So they're going to be the leader in BNB corporate treasuries. And then this gold company, Hamak Gold, has pivoted now. They're going to have Bitcoin in their treasury strategy as well. So a couple headlines there. In memes, the memes were green here this morning. Bonk SPX leading the way. Bonk soaring after its launch pad. Bonk.fun officially flipped Pumpfun in market share over the weekend. We also saw Useless. Its leading token hit a new all-time high around 300 million. It's since pulled back a bit from there. We also had Corey, Letsbonk leading notable meme movers over the weekend. And then Jupe Studio, they have their own launch pad now. They ran their Uranus token up to 25 million, but it's down about 50% since then. And then the Trump team, the Trump meme team, rather, they're saying Trump on Trump. Maybe we'll know more about what that means here in the news.
Trump on TON? I'm just kidding.
Trump. Yeah. Other than that, let's see. The AI market cap kind of held the same. NFTs kind of chopping in the same range. We did see a Skull Lucy sell for $330,000.
Wow. Tied to a mask, right?
It had the mask in there too. Masks are like $8,000, $8 to $10,000. Yeah. So a small part. Those things are becoming unobtainable. It seems like.
Dude, $300,000, and they're constantly selling in that price. That's
pretty frequent. Yeah.
Like it happens like once a month now. It's like a lot for the amount of there's not that many for sale, right? So it's so anyways, main topic today, honestly, I want to go there directly because that's the topic on the spaces. Pumpfun versus Bonk. Well, we still have Manda too. We may as well kind of talk about this. I mean, guys, this has been really the conversation of the moment. Obviously, with I feel like main characters in trading right now on CT are like Blunts and Unique PCs, right? So Bonk guy have kind of like taken over the timeline in terms of people tail them the most when it comes to meme coins, right? Kind of like how Ansem was to like last year or like early 23 and then Frank and all that stuff. And right now it's like all attention's on Bonk guy and Blunts, who seem to kind of be like in the same coins together, right? So they're on news list together, and then they'll be in, I think, Ikun or something like that, and Hosiko, Cat, and etc., which are like the top 3 Bonk.fun meme coins. Let's talk about it. Maybe like Tyler, if you can preface the difference between two of them, because I know like there's like Pumpfun uses MMM. I believe Letsbonk.fun is like Radium still, etc. So to me, it's looking like it's like from the outside looking in, because I don't have any skin in that game at all. I see like Pumpfun kind of like the big one, untouchable, biggest company on Solana, or one of the biggest and most profitable like startups in the world at this stage, right? Like 600 million year one, versus now the rest of the Solana ecosystem. Because it seems that it's like Solana influencers, founders, Radium, companies, Bonk. Like Bonk is like the biggest project on Sol, right? Or one of them have gotten together to kind of like play against that. So maybe give us TLDR. I'm curious your thoughts, both of you guys, on what's going on.
Yeah, if folks don't remember some of the details on Bonk.fun, so they did partner with Radium in Radium's Launch Lab contract to build their own launch pad. And they started with prize pools, giving out $50K a week in Radium to kind of get things kicked off the ground there. And a part of their flywheel is that 1% of all the swaps on Bonk.fun are used for a development bucket for their validator, as well as then buying back and burning Bonk tokens. So there is a direct flywheel tied to the Bonk meme coin. I think you nailed it. So this is a group that has been, I would say, kind of incumbent in the Solana space, right? Bonk has pretty good mind share sentiment just from the airdrop they did a few years back. They're Solana OGs. They've been growing in the ecosystem for quite some time. They made a big splash, and then it cooled off a bit after the launch. I think is objectively a fair thing to say. Pump continued to lead the way. And then it feels like something's kind of shifted since this Pumpfun airdrop was announced. You had Bonk guy become one of the main characters in the meme space. He's been loudly touting the Bonk.fun launchpad and the tokens that have come out of that launchpad. You also have this kind of narrative that the Bonk.fun flywheel helps everyone in the Solana ecosystem. It gives back to a degree, right? It gives back to Bonk holders directly by this because of the buy and burn versus Pumpfun, which is seeing more as an extractor, whether that's rightfully or wrongfully. That is a sentiment that is held in the Solana trenches, I think, at this point. So you've got them as kind of like the good guy versus the bad guy, kind of how this is being set up. And this past weekend is where we really saw the movement. And Bonk.fun now officially leading market share over 50%, Pumpfun below 40% for the first time that this has happened, really since Pump came on the scene. I think a quick caveat, this was a low liquidity long holiday weekend. So I'm a bit, I don't want to just jump to conclusions too fast.
Right.
I think, like, let's see this play out for more than a handful of days. But it is significant progress. And in a vacuum, if you have to pick one of these to support and drive your capital towards, if the memes are the same in a level playing field, I see the case for why you'd want to go to Bonk.fun, right? Because of the flywheel.
So I'm curious. So, Milo, I know you got to live in a few minutes. So let's go to you, and then we can keep going on. Like, what do you have you followed this? Like, what do you make of this?
I have to say that I just don't really care.
I love this.
Like, my general sense is that this has happened because there's been such little value created, and now we're like creating a battle between the ones left. It very much reminds you of like when Blur and OpenSea are like flipping each other.
True.
Even though the market's slightly shifted away from it. Obviously, this useless coin's done well, but I think it's an issue with the product rather than the platform. I do agree that Bonk and Radium both have more Web3 models, like the buyback models for both tokens feel slightly more aligned. But like, I don't think this is what fixes what's happening, right? It's not like, I don't think everyone shifting from Pumpfun to Letsbonk is onboarding people to the product. That's basically what I'm saying. It's like, I think it's a symptom of what we've had for a while, since probably January or February, that like it's we haven't been making money, and then everyone's trying like different ways to like rehash it, like, oh, we go to this chain, or maybe we'll just do like, this will have one novel factor, and then we'll just have one runner. This feels like a better model, but of a system which seems like it's not necessarily reaching. It's not onboarding people, it's just not onboarding people in the same way that we had back in November, December, January, I think. And that's why I just don't really care, because I just feel as though like people are like, oh my God, this is the thing. And my feeling is that like, this is not the thing. Like right now, the thing is what Tyler was talking about. Like is SBET a good trade here? Yeah, like that feels like a far more higher risk reward than some of this other stuff. So I don't expect these platforms to fix meme coins, basically, is where I'm at. And I think that if you're trenching for anything more than just like, oh, I'll have some fun and see what happens, then I think it's going to be a bit painful if you think like this is going to be the thing that onboards people. I just don't see it. Yeah.
It seems like a lot of the same game being played with the same people. We're different. I don't think it's like onboard.
I don't know what new person.
Also, actually, not only is it the same people, I think it's even less people, because, like you said, you don't care. I don't care either. I haven't bought a thing. But I'm not trying to buy anything either. Like, I'm not looking at either platforms, Bonk or Pumpfun. Like, yo, I'm going to buy the next runner. Right?
I think Minna makes a great point. Yeah, I think it's totally fine to be checked out from this.
Yeah, I don't feel like you're gonna miss life-changing money being checked out. Like,
if you are checked in, you need to be aware of this, right? Like, I'm looking at the Solana Dex board. 90% of the top tokens are all Radium now versus Pumpfun, which is a market change. So, I guess if you are here trading every day, like, you need to be aware that this is currently where the money and attention is flowing.
Got it.
Yeah, so I like this because I think Radium might be an interesting play again. You know, like it's trading at what 1.5 billion, something like that. Like what's Radium's FTV? Radium.
It's at $2. So I don't know what the FTV is. Let me check it out. It's looking good. I'm not gonna lie.
Seems like a interesting play again.
587 market cap. That's not FTV, I know. But
1.22. Wow, like that is an interesting coin. Like there's no
so
doubt
I was
about
just looking at the chart, right? On TradingView. It's actually looking good. Like, is Mano gonna run it back?
I don't know if it doubles, but definitely. I mean that looks like an obvious long to me. If you're playing this, I'm surprised.
Only if it's sustained, though. Only if the like what Tyler was saying. Like if it's not like a long weekend, low volume thing, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm curious what you guys think. Maybe I'll put a poll out. What's up,
The
Tyler?
other aspect of this, quickly, Froke, though, is like this Pumpfun's about to launch a token.
That too.
And they just got flipped in market share. It's not
For a
crazy.
day, yeah.
I know, for a day. So like, again, I don't want to get too caught up in all this just yet. But if you're Allen and team, I mean, you don't like this.
They definitely mistimed this, right?
I know you make a good point. It's a wrong time to get flipped in market share. You're right. That's a good point. I mean, they do have $500 million to spend.
I don't think we need to cry for those guys.
Yeah. I mean, it does not affect my bags. Fartcoin is Letsbonk X Pumpfun War proof.
It does. Maybe are less people going to fire at 4 billion in the pre-sale though? If they're maybe the leading launchpad, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. What do you guys what do you guys think of these lids, the European lids? What's the thoughts on the show? Like, what's the consensus on these?
Do you guys have different lids to that?
Well, yeah, this is a very Euro thing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like, America doesn't have this.
What don't we have?
The lids in Europe, they
It
don't like,
stays-
they're tiny. So when you open, you always splash yourself, and then they stay, you know, to avoid,
Yeah.
you know. They're called hat lids.
I genuinely have no idea what the issue is. With that.
Technologia! Europe 2060. I'm starting to. So even like the president Nayib Bukele used to make fun of these on X.
Oh, really?
I'm actually starting to like him. Yeah, he was saying it's the only invention Europe has had, and like whatever. Anyways, speaking of which, I think there was something else Amanda just brought up, and I think we should go there. SBET, Tyler. I mean, Tom Lee again. Was it Friday? Thursday? I saw a clip of him yesterday. This guy is good, man.
He's good. Pull up the
8-minute clip.
Bitminer stock chart. BMNR.
BNNR. So let me go. What's BNNR? Oh, that's the
That's Bitmine. That's Tom Lee's. So we did our first segment.
BMNR. The M like mom.
BMNR. Yeah.
Bitmine immersion. Yeah.
So we did our feature on this last Monday, a week ago.
Went to
It was at $13, and then I think 17 live during the show when we were talking about it.
I was like here. It's like here.
It hit 160 on Thursday briefly.
It's about 160. Yeah.
Basically a 10x in like 3 days, and it's down now. Now it's at 100. But it really popped, and it just kind of shows the demand for these ETH corporate treasuries. And I think Tom Lee's is going to be a big one. Again, we talked about this last week. The caveat here is they raised that $250 million at like a $4 per share price. Those shares have not hit yet. So that's going to dilute this, and you're going to see this price come down. I think that's happening like July 20th, July 21st. I need to check the notes to see exactly when that happens. So that's going to be a key date to watch. Until then, you could see it. You'll see it be pretty volatile. Maybe it'll hit a new high, unclear, but you're kind of playing just a hot potato game until those shares come in. But I do think this one gets very interesting once the shares do come through and it hits kind of and the price falls and goes back to its more normal level. finds a new bottom, I think it's going to become very interesting. And we're seeing that with the SBET stock here as well, which ran up to, it ran up too high. I think it hit like 70, came all the way back down, fell 80%, went back to like the $9, $10 range, kind of found the bottom in that 9 to 10 range, chopped there for about 3 weeks. And then last week it's starting to move. So, but it's up about 50% from last week's bottom. Now trading right around $14 a share, hit like $14.50 or so this morning. And basically, you've got the battle of the new MicroStrategies of ETH. You've got Joe Lubin and SharpLink, SBET stock, and you've got Tom Lee and Bitminer, and they're both following similar high-level strategies. They want to maximize ETH per share. So that is finding financial engineering tactics like finding staking yield. It's embracing the volatility to perhaps issue more debt equity against the company shares to be able to buy more, and whoever is going to be able to do it more effectively perhaps wins. Perhaps they both win, right? I think there's a good chance that both of these are very interesting potential buys. So I think I started adding to my SBET position.
Yeah, I like that.
Wednesday of last week. I got in under 10, so it's up nicely.
10% day is good.
And Bitminer, I closed that position last week. I'm going to wait for that to cool down, but then I'll likely add a position to that as well.
Keep in mind, there's a 45-day lockup for people that invested day one.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind when you're buying, selling Bitminer.
Yeah, I think you want to wait for that to all.
You kind of want the mega dump because these are people that got in with size.
Yeah,
like millions of dollars. So at size, a 3x is fucking fantastic, right? So like I wouldn't be surprised if you see a SharpLinks type dump on it.
Exactly. I think most are expecting that. But I think that's the dump you want to buy once it finds
100%. Yeah. Like I'm starting to get more and more bulled up in Ethereum. Like I was always bullish on Ethereum tech, which we're building on Ethereum, but it's in price action slowly. Because that Tom Lee clip, I need to find it. I'll share it when I find it for everybody who wants to listen. I'll retweet it. It's like an 8-minute clip, so maybe like skip through it. But like, he's good. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about this a lot. You and Mendo, so we need to rehash it. But him and Joe are like, they're going to sell the fuck out of this. And the Bitcoin, it's going to be a little crowded. The whole Bitcoin shit, Bitcoin companies, port codes, whatever. And we get it. Like Bitcoin and Ethereum arguably could have more upside in terms of like percentage on the trade in the next, let's say H2. Let's say now in the year. Upside on Ethereum trade is a little higher than upside on Bitcoin trade. Unless you think Bitcoin's going like $500,000 by the end of the year, sure. Then I'm wrong. But like if you're targeting like 150 Bitcoin, that's what, 50%, let's say, 40-50% on BTC. But Ethereum could 100%, right? Because it's just 2x to all-time high.
I think if you think Bitcoin 150K is your top end target,
so like 2750
that ETH could outperform that. Yeah. And I was talking about this a bit with Logan last week, but I'm just very bullish on the inflows into crypto right now.
Yeah.
I think Bitcoin's leading the way 100%, but diversification is a real thing. And the more of your traditional financial managers who are getting into this game are going to want to diversify. And Bitcoin is the first thing. And then what's the second thing? It's ETH. ETH is right there.
And
you see it's all-time highs. You got Tom Lee on CNBC painting the bull case. You got more folks explaining it. It's a good setup, and I think it's going to catch a lot of these flows. We're starting to see it, right? In my update, I said the ETF inflow from Thursday last week, 150 million. It was the second highest day they've had in almost 6 months.
Wow.
It's starting to back it up.
Yeah. That's really cool. Sorry, I had to run away for a second. I had people knocking my door. All the pots and pans that I spent $1 million on yesterday. Just decided to get here in the middle of the fucking show and Vanessa's not home. Anyways, they're good. I'm like, just leave everything outside. Well, outside the door, not outside the building. Anyways, so we're back. So there's that. And we'll see what happens on that front. What else? I mean, let's see what else. There's just still a couple of
the Elon America Party thing is interesting. So I tweeted this on Saturday. I shared the poly market. It was only 39% to happen in July. It was only 52% to happen even in this year. So he had been talking about it. Folks weren't totally convinced it was real. Then he did file. So this is a real thing.
Wow.
I think an important clarification that folks have been following this at just arm's length is that this is not a new party that is backing a presidential candidate, at least right now. His goal is to go after like 5 to 10 congressional seats to effectively be swing votes to try to get like legislation that he likes put forward and perhaps block legislation that he doesn't like. So he's been vocal that he didn't like the BBB, the Big Beautiful Bill, increase the deficit by $3 trillion. So he wants to try to get folks into seats that perhaps block things like that. So it's not Elon running for president. It's a little bit smaller scale than that, at least right now. So that's what's happening. The crypto news is that yesterday on Twitter, someone asked him point blank if he's going to be embracing Bitcoin with the America Party. And he said, what was the direct quote? Fiat is hopeless. And he said, yes, effectively they will embrace Bitcoin. What's interesting about this is if you think his party is going to go after extreme austerity measures to try to correct the deficit ship and try to minimize the debt, in theory, that would be bad for that. That would be a negative catalyst for Bitcoin. So I think one of the primary bull cases out there right now is just the denominator is worthless. The US dollar continues to be inflated away by Bitcoin as a currency hedge. Well, if you get the deficit under control, debt under control, and you start to correct that, part of that narrative goes away. So then does Bitcoin make as much sense? So I actually thought that was a bit of an interesting contrast. But near term, I mean, that's still a very long ways out to becoming even a potential reality. So I think near term, still good to see him embrace it. So that was an interesting one. We'll see if he continues to talk about crypto. The other one was this UAE dispute with Ton. And we haven't had a chance to get into it. So I shared the news yesterday that the Ton Foundation Telegram had found these announced these golden visas where you could stake $100,000 in Ton, pay a $35,000 fee, and effectively fast track to get a visa to go to the UAE. The UAE has now come out and say, no, that's not true. No partnership exists. They are not allowing digital currency investors into their golden visa framework at this time. So I went back and checked, and it is still on the Ton website. So Max Crown is the one who tweeted about this. He announced the program in a tweet yesterday morning, July 6th, and he linked to this Ton website, ton.org/golden visa. And
how is it still live on the website? Like, because they're awake right now in the UAE. Like, it's just 2 hours. You posted this, like, they debunked that like the morning there. Like, I don't understand how this is still up. So secure 10-year golden visa with a one-time $35K processing fee. Stake 100 grand in Ton. I don't know. Includes your family, everything. So when I saw the original news, I called BS on it because why would they do Ton before? And no dig at Ton. I'm just saying, if you told me any other one but Bitcoin, I'd be like, okay, right? Even Solana, I'd be like, okay, why? Like, what? Like, why Sol before Bitcoin, right? Because UAE is super pro AI, crypto, etc., right? So it made no sense to me from the get-go that it was Ton. Because even CZ, right? So let's go here. Yeah, CZ, right? Like, was like, hey, is this, like, he didn't call it out, but he asked the right questions, right? Like, even he was like, wait, right? And he said something along like, hey, if this is real, like he said, if this is true, no, sorry, it wasn't this. I forget what it is. Yeah, here. He said, is this real? Big if true, right? And then he said, if it's true, then, you know, we'll do this for BNB, right? And you'd figure that BNB would get it before Ton because of CZ's ties to the UAE now. Like, he's living in Abu Dhabi, but Binance's office is there. That's, you know, that's why I got to interview CZ in Abu Dhabi. So I thought it was weird from the get-go, Tyler. Now I don't know if maybe they had a deal with like some other region. So UAE is composed of different regions, right? Like you have RAK, which is where I went to the car rally, Ras Al Khaimah, which is like the north. They're trying to give a bunch of golden visas to like crypto entrepreneurs. I know that for a fact because I met the person that was the head of that with Locks when we were there. So we met like the Sheikh of Ras Al Khaimah, and we met like the guy in charge of the golden visa. So, or it could be another region, right? Because you know how everyone thinks it's just Dubai. There's more, right? There's Dubai, there's Abu Dhabi, there's right. So there's all these, I think 6 or 7 of them. So it could be there was something there, but like I don't understand. Like this is pretty bad if it, you know, it's just, you know, kind of in general, it's pretty bad if untrue, but it seems like it was debunked by the government itself.
I feel like they must have had some kind of at least a conversation or a handshake deal with somebody, right? Like,
I mean, it's a whole website.
Maybe it's like a different region or subgroup. I'm not sure how this played out, but like they spun up this website. It's still standing up. I mean, it feels strange to do that without any kind of a backing. But yeah. I agree. It felt like strange news on the surface as well. That like, oh, pay $100,000, stick some ton, and now you can get a golden visa. Why
it's crazy, right?
UAE go that route. So I'm sure we'll learn more about this.
Yeah,
a ton did pop on the news briefly.
And now it just dumped, right? Like,
and I'm sure it sold off.
It's down today, back to sub $2. Let's go check it out. Ton coin. First they had the Elon thing, right? This is not real. And now they go, yeah. So it popped. Let's do the daily. So this is where it popped, right? This candle there, because it was like yesterday the news or the day before. When was it?
Yesterday.
Okay, so it didn't last 24 hours. So this
Big
is
jump, yeah.
This is your candle, dude. So it went from 3, you know, it's still lower on the day. So just maybe put on the hourly, easier on the hour. Yeah, there it is. There you go. It's the Burj Khalifa. Yep.
It really. So that was a solid 10% jump. Yeah.
And I mean, 10% on a pretty large coin, right? Tom was like almost. Right. Bro, Tom was like top 10 at some point this cycle.
It was.
It was like 9th or something. It's pretty wild. So I guess the Decrypt writers are on top of that. So I'm very curious. If they got to speak to anyone there in the past 24 hours. I don't know. I don't know who. If they're really shut down, I don't know. We'll see what happens in that sense.
But another coin that's popping. REKT.
REKT. Sorry. Dude.
It's coming back near an all-time highs here.
Brother.
It's about 10% off.
This is so crazy. Like you report on the 20% pump this morning, like, dude, like I checked again. I was like, yo, it's 50% since the fucking Binance Alpha pump dump.
Yeah. That was the dip to buy. 100%. Yeah, it's up a full 50% from there.
But nobody bought it.
Ovi's got a tiger tattoo on his chest now.
Yo.
He's fierce.
Can we talk? So obviously, like, Ovi's a good friend. So like I talk to him every day. And so the other morning, guys, we get a photo of Ovi, like no chest, at a tattoo shop, like a selfie with the thing just that outlines and when you get a tattoo. And he's like, wish me luck. And I woke up to this shit. I'm like, what is this guy doing? And he was on the chair for 9 fucking hours getting, where's my Twitter window? Where's the Twitter window I opened for this? Oh my God, I can't even see it anymore. Oh, there it is. Oh no, I closed. So I was on there and I see him 9 hours later. He's like, dude, like I finished my tattoo. It's the most painful thing I've ever got to do in my life. This guy's nuts, man. He's absolutely out of his mind. I
wasn't sure if it was real at first. So I had to look through the comments. There it is.
Dude.
Hardcore.
This is the sternum feeling. He was telling us how it's like the most painful thing where he's ever, you know, tattoos of pets. Dude, this is just insane, bro. Like, how do you see this and not like max long the coin? You know what I mean?
And then during his recovery, he's just been working on the light papers. The REKT light paper should be coming out today, which perhaps more seriously, I think, is maybe why the market's pumping a bit in anticipation of that. But yeah, he's got a nice setup here. REKT is a good token. And I know like we're talking our books here, and we both are holders.
Yeah, but you know what though? We've been talking that book since forever, and we've been right. You know what I mean? So it's okay. Like at any given point, that if our audience would have bought when we talked about it, except for maybe the exception of this period, right? Like unless you bought like June 12, 13, 14, and 15, then you're still down like 10%, 5%, sorry than that. Then I don't feel bad about talking my book so much.
Yeah, basically anyone who's ever bought this is up.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's about to be basically.
Yeah. Shout out to that guy, like this Castronaut guy that just bought $1 trillion on that dip. So that's been impressive. In other meme coin news, I mean, dude, like I'm still deep in this. Like I think Farcoin is looking good, to be honest, and Solana is increasingly looking good. Like I genuinely think Solana is looking really good, given all the FUD, all the bullshit that's been going through, and then you have the stuff like Hyperliquid that's like overshadowing it like crazy, right? So I genuinely think this is look good. Looks like higher low, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the coins are gonna look good, and also SPX, man. I want to talk about this for a second. Like this coin always looks good. Like it's crazy, but like it always pumps the hardest. Like this one is like 130 again.
Yeah.
Curious what happens there. It's been chopping for like 2 weeks now. Obviously, had this mega. We actually called this, by the way. Like when it hit all-time high here, we actually said like, okay, now it's gonna cool off for a little bit.
Yeah, it just went totally parabolic.
Yeah, it's too. I mean, it's like 700%, right? So they're they're like even. Farcoin and SPX haven't been this even in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Exact same FTB. Wow.
Yeah, in terms of FD, I just don't know how the volumes compare because one of it's Coinbase and stuff, but it's
the interesting wild card in this is now Bonk.
Yeah, I mean, I brought it up earlier when we were talking about the Pumpfun stuff. We should. You know what's crazy? I even thought about it. I thought about belonging in this thing. Like it was so obvious.
Yeah,
it's like
I had a Bonk long on at one point. I took it off. Just opportunity cost. I mean, it chopped for a long time, right? Like let's zoom out on this thing.
I mean, it's been in this. Technically, right now, this is where it breaks out or just sells off a bit before going again. But it's not looking bad. You have a higher low here. It doesn't look bad, but again, like we talked about this again with Mando, like you really need the thing to be sustained, right? I'd rather buy Radium at this stage.
It's at $2 billion. So when you're betting on a $2 billion meme, you have to like really think that like we're gonna have a meme coin cycle.
Yeah,
soon. I mean, you can make the same argument against SPX or Farcoin as well. So I don't want to be.
Is Bonk a meme coin?
Yeah, I see the case where you can say that it's bigger than that.
Like I consider it full on altcoin personally. I didn't always, but they have like a team. They're like one of the biggest ecosystems, probably the biggest ecosystem team in Solana. Them, Pith, and like a few others, like Pumpfun, like. Yeah, but I know what you mean. Anyways, let's call it meme.
The flywheel. So the flywheel is a differentiator, right? So like they're actually real revenue from Bonk.fun is being driven into this token now, which separates it from other pure memes because other pure memes don't have that.
Right.
Until we have the fart pad, and then once we have the fart pad, dropping new tokens.
No, please, no launch pads for Farcoin, please. Nothing. I want nothing for Farcoin. Just let it rip. So Bonk's looking good. Radium's looking good. Like. But see, Tyler, like Solana Eco, right? It's still like, it's crazy to me. Like, we only talk about Solana Eco on the timeline, aside from Hyperliquid, because Hyperliquid is always talk of town right now. Again, Bonkfun and Pumpfun, Solana. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I'm really bullish because Bitcoin has a lot going on for itself. We don't have to rehash it. Ethereum has a lot going on for itself. We just talk about it again on this show. Tom Lee, etc. And Solana has still a lot going on for itself. And by the way, the tokenized stocks on Solana are blowing up in terms of volume. And that's happening on Sol. And stablecoins, which is like the main narrative driving Ethereum up right now, by the way, Tyler, because it's like billions and billions of Solana. There's also a lot being minted on Solana as well at all times. So it's like, I don't know. I'm bullish, man. If our three majors are doing good, like it's good for the space as a whole. So anyways, I think we can get into our little giveaway here. Just realized it's 3:57, and then we'll get into the rest of the stuff tomorrow. The code today was weekly. FOMO, YEET.com. I wish Sims would be more on camera. Yeah, Sims. Yeah, Sims. Maybe he can come talk about music NFTs.
I'm just floating around, mate. Just floating around.
Tomorrow, Mando's not here, right? And Friday, you can come talk about music NFTs. All right, let's give away some money.
All right.
Someone said he's hot.
50 people eligible today. Obviously, we need more. So as it goes along across the week, if you enter any time at point this week, you will be entered for all 4 future draws across it. Every Friday it will reset. So if you put a bet on Saturday or Sunday, you'll be covered for the entire week.
Perfect.
Let me bring this up.
That Christos guy, bro, he's got to win at some point.
Eventually.
Christos is like in the comments, like that is eventually like Christos has got to win. Or Diego. Oh, eligible? We're good?
We've reset anyway. Started fresh.
Okay.
So yeah, put him.
Congratulations. I've seen her win a couple of times, but she went like way back then once as well. Vanessa. There you go.
So kick Vanessa 4G.
Vanessa 4G. Join us on Twitter Spaces. Just request to speak. Request to speak. Oh, we have money in the account. There you go. Got to pay out. We got to pay out people on Friday, I think, or Thursday. Look at that. You know, one of these days, I know we're doing YEET originals. Can we just hit a fucking blackjack hand for someone? Okay. Oh my. Vanessa 4G, where you at?
Worst case, we can do it through the chat, through the kick chat.
Okay. Yeah, because they're on the kick, right?
Yeah, we've got all the info we need. We don't need people to come up and claim anymore. We have all the info, so we can kind of roll for them if we want to.
She was
do something silly.
No, she's here. Vanessa 4G is watching the show. I know that for a fact. I see her. Okay, she can't join. Okay, all good. Don't worry. You're good. Yeah, but she's here. She's here. All that matters. Space is bugging. You're good. It is bugging, actually. I know. You're here, Vanessa 4G. So let's do Plinko then.
Yeah. That's an easy one.
All right. Let's do some Plinko. All right, Vanessa. Congratulations. First and foremost, you already make $500. $500. And second of all, let's go do some Plinko. And then I gotta get on a call. We got a lot of stuff going on for us as well. Let's do 5 times 100. Because I feel like 2 times 250 is like low. Sims and Tyler, what do you think?
$500 balls. All right.
$500 balls. All right. This is the right settings, right? High speed, 16 rows.
Hold on.
Light speed, 5 times 100. That's 500. All right.
Do stick turbo mode on it. I'll just fly through them then.
There
It's
you
only
go.
5, right? So you just click the button.
It's only 5 here. So there you go. Took a screenshot and let's go. All right. Let's go. Oh,
Right.
Left. Left.
Oh no, it's came back. No, I think she only made about $100 here. Something like that. Unlucky, but that doesn't matter because she also made $500 for winning. So Vanessa, congratulations. I think you win about like something around $600, something like that, in some change. So congratulations. And with that, we'll see y'all tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the episode of FOMO Hour on Rock Radio. Let's go.